Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tavern Hunter podcast. Today on the show, we are joined by the Cozy Queen herself. Kennedy is a YouTuber and streamer, perhaps best known for her content on cozy gaming. Kennedy, thanks so much for being on the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So your content covers like a wide array of topics. You do self-care, organization, gaming, many different other things. Was there any one of those that was perhaps maybe like a first love for you?
I would definitely say it was gaming. My family collected consoles since before I was born, and so my brother and I were just brought up around gaming and like different kinds of gaming. And gaming was it was something that was very positive and like something with a positive association, I think, for my whole family. And yeah, so I've just been obsessed with it since I was a child. It's kind of always been a nice little escape, you know.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. I first came across your stuff on Instagram, and you really, like with your photography, you really hit that cozy vibe and you mixed it with the gaming. Then you began to kind of branch out into some other platforms. What pushed you to begin making this kind of very specific content?
I was in law school with my second year, and I was a little bit stressed, you know,
As law school does.
as law school does. Yeah, I was stressed and feeling a little bit like just like consumed by the law student identity, and kind of wanted to just focus on other aspects of my identity and my interests and things like that. That felt like a healthy coping mechanism for the stress of law school. And so I just did that. Just really got into sharing, just sharing how I felt when I gamed. And I did that by just sharing kind of the things that almost depicted that like cozy feeling I got when I gamed. And I didn't know what I was doing at all when I first started sharing pictures and like taking pictures, and then no idea. I'm not a photographer at all. And yeah, and then I just kind of learned as I went, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you definitely hit on something because you've drawn a nice following and kind of this new cozy gaming, I don't know, subculture, whatever we want to call it, sub genre. We got multiple subgenres. And your channel is all about cozy gaming spaces, both kind of inside games and while you're gaming, kind of as you described. You've come in, obviously this is the Tavern Hunter podcast, and you've mentioned taverns and inns on your channel as well, from games like Breath of the Wild, Stardew, Skyrim, things like that. So from the point of view of your cozy expertise, what do you look for in a tavern? Like what kind of things help to set the mood?
Yes, my expertise I will draw on here. I would say like warmth and then community are the two things. So I definitely look for, I think, aesthetically the warmth. Like, are the colors themselves warm? Are they like kind of orangey, yellowy colors? And then that always just automatically evokes feelings of like warmth and comfort. And then community, in terms of like other people in the town in the game are actually going there and are actually convening there. And I think that just makes it feel more real. It makes it feel like, oh, I'm it's not just like this kind of empty lot that you just like pop into. It's like it feels like lived in, which is cool.
Yeah. You mentioned colors. Do you think that kind of comes down to lighting oftentimes?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, I think a lot of the time taverns and inns are lit a little bit more like kind of moody and a little bit more dark and cozy.
Yeah, I mentioned that because I had never occurred to me either, no matter how many, D&D or video gaming taverns I've been in. And then I interviewed a couple artists, and that's what they kept coming back to was the lighting specifically. It was like, just not to mince words here, but a light bulb went off in my head. Do you think any particular gaming system in particular or setups lend themselves more to the tavern vibe than others?
I don't think so. I think that I think every platform has a game with like a really cozy tavern. I think PCs can kind of be a little bit more immersive, like a a game like Skyrim, I feel like is
Mhm.
good on the PC for the immersiveness of it. But then like Breath of the Wild or Stardew is great to just like get cozy on your bed,
Mhm.
and just like experience the coziness of the tavern in that way. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't think so. I think they're all kind of good.
Yeah, I'm very curious to kind of see what happens whenever the Steam Deck comes out,
Yeah,
because
me
now
too.
this whole other world opens up, and you just kind of
Yeah.
cozy up and pull out your Steam
Cozy
Deck.
up with the immersive games. It's the
Yeah,
best of both worlds.
yeah, we're entering some new frontiers in
Yeah.
cozy gaming with the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Which tavern games do you think really get the mood right for you?
I would say Stardew for sure. Stardew definitely gets it right. The Star Drop Saloon is just so dang cozy, and I think it touches on those two
Mhm.
um things of like warmth. It's just like orange and warm, and then there's community in terms of like the same people are there every day, and then on other nights like the whole town's there, and like people have their schedules, and it feels like real, and it feels like you're like walking into something that you can kind of like be a part of, and I think
Mhm.
that's really cool. And then I think Undertale, which I just recently played for the first time. I don't know why it took me so long, but just recently played for the first time. I think they have a really great tavern. It's also super orange and cozy, and then there's like a whole fun cast of characters in there. Yeah, I love it.
Okay, I'll add Undertale to the list. I haven't played
Mhm.
that either. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you keep talking about the lived in feeling, and
Mhm.
I'm always at least 5 years behind on just about everything,
Yeah.
including gaming. And so I've only recently gotten around to Skyrim. And
Mhm.
so I find that the when you walk into the taverns in Skyrim and they just kind of randomly start telling you their life story, like I find that
Yeah.
such a weird, interesting way to like create that immersive experience, but it still feels kind of awkward.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll just have to see what happens with
That's true. I kind of agree. It's almost like
yeah.
a forced uh yeah. Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with the next Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah.
So among all of your various exploits in gaming or fiction, film, take your pick, which tavern do
Mhm.
you think you would most like to visit?
Definitely Startup Saloon.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, yeah, it hits on all the areas. And then I think it's just nice. Like I just love it. I love when you can go in and like do something you would do in real life, like buy a drink, like
Mhm.
buy food or whatever. And I just like love going in and just buying around for everybody and like giving it to the people who, you found out like beer because you've given it to them before.
Right.
And yeah, it's just cool. And then like knowing people's schedules and like knowing who's going to be in there certain nights and like who's in there every night. And yeah, I just love it. And then in the context of like the game as a whole, it kind of feels like the central meeting point, or like
Mhm.
a almost like a little time to like, okay, like breathe, because everything else can be so high, just high, I don't know, high stress sometimes.
Yeah.
Even though it's a cozy game, and if you're trying to like min-max everything, it can be kind of like intense. So it's nice to just unwind at
Yeah.
that tavern.
It's like a 16-bit cheers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so to follow Kennedy and all of her cozy content, you can find her on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, all of which are linked below. Kennedy, thanks so much for
Thank
taking the time to
you.
chat with us.
Yeah, of course.